Hey guys, this is Goku, and on this channel we talk about poker and ideas that can improve your life. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click the subscribe button because I'll be honored to have you here. Today we're gonna jump into another GTO trainer session. We're playing the spot Big Blind Call versus Button Open. We're about 126 hands into this spot. We're playing 25 hands per session, and before this spot we've been playing some other spots. We've been playing the MP2 Open versus Big Blind Call and also MP2 Open versus Button Call. And also before that we've played the cash game spot, Cutoff Open versus Big Blind Call. So yeah, this one's very interesting. We are not doing so great so far, but hopefully this will be our first perfect zero EV session. So let's try and see if we can do that. Let's start a new session. And for our first hand, we've got Jack 9 of diamonds on a 5-6 Jack. We're gonna check here on this flop, as we're doing with most of our range. The villain checks behind. There's a 4 of diamonds on the turn, and now we got a bet. But how much? Bet 3/4 or overbet? I think I'm betting 3/4 here usually, but yeah, betting a third of the pot would be ideal. Betting 3/4 is 11% of the strategy, and pretty much same EV wise. 7-5 off on a 9-king-3. We're checking and falling to a bet. 4-3 off on a 3-jack-10. We're checking. Villain checks behind. Deuce on the turn. I think we're gonna try and bet now, or should we just check? Let's see if checking is most of the strategy. It is, but yeah, we should be betting here about 50% of the time. So now the villain bets a third of the pot. We're gonna call as we should, and there's an ace on the river, and we're gonna check as we should, and villain shows up with pocket sevens. Ace 10 on a 5-4 king. We're gonna check and call one bet. Queen of hearts on the turn. We're gonna check again. And now the villain bets 3/4. And I think it's a fold, but maybe it is a call. Is it a call? I'm gonna go on a leap and call, and it is a call 88% of the time. And 6 of clubs on the river means we're checking again, and I think we're giving up on this hand now. If the villain bets, yeah, I think we have to give up because the flush completes and the straights, but at least we didn't make a mistake on the turn, which is nice. 7-3 of diamonds on an 8-4 ace. We're checking. Calling the 5 big blind bet. We hit our flush on the turn. We're gonna check again. And we see the solver's doing 50% of betting here, actually. Villain now bets a third pot bet. Do we raise it or do we call? I think we just call. Should be raising it. Big amount of time, 94%. Just calling is fine EV wise, but only 6% of the strategy. Now what do we do on the river? Do we bet or do we check? I think we check because this is what the solver likes to do mostly. Yeah, it is, and we call the shove, of course. Cool. Pocket fours on a deuce 6-9. We're gonna check. Villain checks behind. King of spades on the turn. Are we betting here sometimes? Or should we be checking rather? I think we're checking. Yeah. Villain checks behind. And a 3 of spades on the river means we're checking it down. Yeah. And calling the bet, I think, right? With pocket fours here. Or should we be folding? I think we're calling. Okay, so it's a call 65% of the time and fold 35% of the time. And villain's actually got 2 pair with 3-6. 4-5 of diamonds on a king 8-5. We're checking. Villain checks behind. We hit 2 pair on the turn. So we should bet now, but how much? 3/4 or 1/3 of the pot? I think mostly the third. Okay, it's a check 36% of the time, bet 3/4, bet 1/3 31, and I assume bet 3/4 the remainder 30 something percent. Jack on the river means that we should bet 3/4 here, I think, and we should check. Surprisingly, it's a medium EV loss, but I'm really surprised that the solver is checking on the river. But yeah, we need to be doing much more checking on the river with especially with our strong hands, because we're not doing that, and we see the solver is doing that, so we should be doing that as well. 5-A-6 is the flop, and we've got Queen Jack. We're folding to the bet, I think. Yeah. 3-4 suited on the 6 Jack King. All hearts. We're checking. Villain checks behind. 7 of diamonds on the turn. I think we're checking again here. Should be betting too. A fair bit of time, 37%. Checking is still fine. And 8 of spades on the river means we're just checking it down and folding to the bet. Yep. 7 Jack off on a 4-4-3. We're gonna check. Call one bet with 7 Jack off here. I would fold 100% here, but I think the solver is calling. It's not. Oh, come on, man. Come on. Yeah, king on the turn. We're gonna check. Villain checks behind. Another king on the river. And we're gonna check. Give up on the hand. Ace deuce off on a 10 ace 10. We're gonna check. Call the bet. 8 of clubs on the turn. We're gonna check again. Call the overbet. And another 10 on the river means we're gonna check for the 3rd time and call the all-in. And actually, 60% we should be folding here and calling only 40%. And the villain does have quads. But we can see calling here is fine EV-wise, but it's not 100% here to call with our hand. So something that you should keep on your mind, definitely. 10 Jack off on a 4 ace king. We're gonna check. And call the bet 5, I think, yeah. We hit our straight on the turn. I'm gonna check again. Villain checks behind. 3 of diamonds on the river. Now do we bet or do we check? I think we check. Yeah, 92% of the time we should check here. And the villain overbets the pot now. And I think we're just calling here because of the flush, right? Or should we still be shoving? I think we're just calling. Yeah, we are just calling. And villain does have the flush. Oh well. Queen deuce suited on a 9 king ace. Gonna check. fold to the bet. Pocket threes on 8-7 ace is a check. Villain checks behind. Deuce of diamonds on the turn. Is this a donk bet? It's not. Should be a check 97% of the time. Villain called our donk, so we're just giving up on the hand. And checking and folding or calling this half pot bet. I think we're folding. Yeah, folding is the ideal action, but played 42% of the time. So we are doing some calling and some raising here, for sure, with pocket threes. Ace 4 off on a king 3-5. We're checking. Villain checks behind. Jack of hearts on the turn. We're checking again, even though I would like to bet here. And we should be betting here. And actually over betting on this turn, surprisingly. Checking is a small EV loss, but just 2% play. But now the villain bets 3/4. And I think we call here with our hand. Okay, call is a 4.8% play. Okay. Ideal play, but just 5% of the strategy. And what do we do on the 9 of clubs river? Do we bet this? It's a tough spot. I think we gotta bet here. I'm gonna bet 3/4. And it's bad. It's bad. So there goes our perfect session. Yeah, we should just give up on this hand. I'm having trouble giving up on the hands, as you can see. But oh well. Queen 9 off on a 7 deuce deuce is a check. 10 of clubs on the turn. We're checking again. Villain checks behind. And a 3 of spades on the river means that maybe we donk bet it. And again, we should just check. Pocket threes on ace 6-9. We're checking. Calling one bet or falling? Probably the solver likes calling. No. I'm gonna cry, man. I am going to cry. Such big mistakes we're making. And I guess we're making them because we want to play like the solver. And we are failing at this hard. But oh well, we're falling now on the turn. Ace 9 off on a 5-8 deuce. We're checking. Villain checks behind. 7 of spades of clubs on the turn. Do we bet this? Probably. Or do we just check? Okay, we do bet this often. But now we checked and the villain bets. Do we give it up? Or do we call? I think we give it up a bit, at least. Yeah, 27.4% of the time we give it up. And we call 71, so we do a lot of calling here. King 6 off on a 9-ace-6. We're gonna check and call the bet. 5 on the turn. We're gonna check. Villain checks behind. And we're checking on the river. And I think giving up on the hand. Yep, 5-8 off on a king a7 with 2 diamonds. We're folding. Ace-5 of hearts on a queen 7-8. We're checking and folding. 8-4 of hearts on a queen 9 jack. We're checking and folding. Ace deuce on a deuce deuce 5. We're checking. Villain checks behind. Ace on the turn. I think we're betting a third here. 34% of the time, but checks the ideal action. Played 57% of the time. And we've got a 4 of diamonds on the river. And I want to check here. And checking is just 10% of the strategy. Ideal action is donk betting 61% of the time. And the solver's doing betting the remainder percent of the time. Okay, so it's just a 10% check here. And 90% bet, and usually we should just donk it. Okay, ace-6 off on a king deuce 9. We're gonna check. Call the bet with ace-6 off. I think so. It's not a call, it's a fold. 99% of the time. Calling is small if we lost, but just 1% of the strategy. We're gonna check on this turn and fold to the overbet. Jack 5 off on a 10-9-8. We're checking and calling the bet 5. King on the turn. Should we bet here sometimes? Probably. I'm gonna bet 3/4. Okay, it's a 91% check, 4% bet 3/4, so at least we didn't make a mistake on that front. Villain called, and do we shove it or do we give up on this hand? I think we shove it. We don't really have a choice. And the solver's given up 83% of the time, but shoving the remainder 17% and is perfectly fine. Villain unfortunately has the king. We've played our 25 hands for the session. I'm quite afraid of seeing the result, but let's see it. Minus 48 BBs of EV loss. Yeah, just those 2 big mistakes. Here calling with pocket 3s on a a6-9 board, and here betting with ace-4 on the river, where we should just give up on the hand or check call, maybe, I don't know, probably give up. And yeah, we also had this hand, that was close to -1 BB of EV loss. So if it weren't for those 2 big ones, it would be a really nice session, but unfortunately, yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this session, please leave a comment below. Just write GTO or ask any question you might have. Subscribe if you're not already. Leave a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Do you want to learn how to play PLO? Are you a beginner player who's never played Omaha before? Do you want to learn how to crush casual players easily? If so, this course is perfect for you. It's a crash course on Pot Limit Omaha dedicated for beginner players. You will learn all the fundamentals of PLO. You will learn what hands to play, when to play them, and how to play them. You will learn the basic strategies that allow you to be a winning player at your home games or microstakes online. If you want to learn PLO quickly and easily, get this course now at gokupoker.com.